as indicative of the title of the show. I have been demonetized on Facebook. Now, for those of you that don't know what that means and what that all entails, it means that I was entered into a program, a partner program, as a creator with Facebook. They have decided they do not want my videos to be monetized or anything. There's a lot of branding content, a lot of stuff that comes with being monetized. It's very similar to YouTube in a sense, and how it does it, monetization via ads and all of that. That's one way that they do it, but they also have like the fan subscription, which are similar to some of the memberships that we have here. There's a bunch of brand collaboration managers, so deals and stuff that I could have gotten there. Branded content, tagging, all of that has been stripped away from me. And it was an odd thing because I had just uploaded my clip from yesterday's show. This is how I found out about it. So I upload this clip, and I was going to see and trying to monetize it, and I saw that the option wasn't there. And so then I went to the monetization tab under the creator app, and I saw what I'm about to show you guys here. Now, some of this you're not going to be able to see, so I may have to shrink it up. But this was the message that I got here, and all it says, and I'll read it to you for the spot that's chopped off. It says this content was removed for hate speech. Eric July shared this content, and there's nothing here. There's nothing there. Now, obviously, you see how it affects my page. All the monetization has been removed, but there's nothing here. It just says remove for hate speech. Now, what someone did bring to my attention was that there was a post that they tried to share that they couldn't. And all it was essentially a copy and paste. Let me see if I can find it right here. If you're watching us over at YouTube, you'll be able to see it. But there was a post that I shared regarding right here. This was the post. So it was a slightly longer, some added text because I'm not as limited in characters on Facebook. But this was the post. Someone want to explain to me I'll read it out to you. So y'all are so fixated on getting the right people to wield the ring of power while I'm trying to get you to understand the ring needs to be tossed into the pit of fire and rid of. That's the solution. Pull the rug from under these crackheads. It's a literal Lord of the Rings reference. It's a Lord of the Ring reference. So if this was the post, again, I don't know because they don't tell me, but it would make sense because that was the post that is no longer on my Facebook. But what the fuck does this have to do with hate speech? Is Lord of the Rings hate speech now? What does this have to do with hate speech? There's nothing in here that is hate speech. Nothing. You can't say crackheads is hate speech. I say crackheads all the time. Crackheads. I say it all the time on almost every one of my videos. Never once. The other ones are still up. The other posts in which my other posts in which I said are still up. So it's not that. So what happened? I don't know. Now, of course, this is coming in light of as well as this happening to Ron Paul, not the demonetization, but him being completely locked out of his account, or rather, he can't post from the Ron Paul page. Same goes for I was demonetized the same day as Tim Pool, who I was on the show recently, but Tim Pool got demonetized on Facebook. So it's clear and obvious that they have a play here, right, in which they are trying to de-incentivize people to create on their platform that have these sort of alternative approaches to the politics stuff, because this doesn't make sense. And they're just making things up. And this is the thing that's crazy about it, is because I have been getting a runaround since yesterday, right? So I did the appeal. You know how jacked up this is? Because there's an appeal process in which you can just, you click appeal if you think we got it wrong, blah, blah, blah. As soon as I sent the repeal, I got a message back saying that they looked it over. And they was like, well, you have violated community standards. Still no word of what post that I did. How I violated community standards, it doesn't say. It's just you violated community standards. So what that tells me, obviously, nobody looked at it. And they had that predetermined. It was predetermined. They wouldn't even let me appeal it, basically, because I send it and I get a message back as if they looked it over, but there was no way that they looked it over because, like, as soon as I send it, I get a message back in less than like a minute saying that, yeah, we looked it over. It's you violated community standards. You can try again in 7 days to appeal. I go to Facebook Business. The only way that you can get an actual human being, probably going to be from India, but a human being nonetheless, to message back and forth with, these fools send me to, they're not even on the same page. These crackheads send me to the appeal, back to the appeal process. Like, you need to click this link. There's nothing we can do on our side. Click this. I was like, fool, I already done clicked the link. I've already done that. It's saying that I can't do it. And basically, God told two people, said, you basically SOL. So I'm like, all right, bet. The reason why you don't see me tripping out is because they're hurting themselves by doing it. They're hurting. Look, okay, yeah, I've made some decent amount of bucks from Facebook, like a very decent amount of bucks that is no longer going to be there. That is a revenue stream that is completely removed, okay? But I'm not as short-sighted as I know some other folks are because they're doing themselves in the door. We've seen their shares, Twitter and Facebook shares tumble. If they want to adopt policies that don't incentivize creators to create on your platform, then fine, do it. I got a couple of announcements that I'll be announcing here in a little bit as far as where you're going to be able to find my other videos. But also I got other stuff in the works with the website, which you guys know, ericdjuly.com is getting a full revamp. And in that revamp, we'll be able to I'm phasing out Patreon. I will no longer be on Patreon. All that stuff will be housed on my own site. It's going to give you guys a direct line of sight with me. And, of course, there's no middleman. I'm cutting out the middleman. That has been my aspiration, and all this does is speed up the process. That's all it does. So I'm not tripping. Does it suck? In a sense, yeah. But they're playing the short term. I'm playing the long term. That's all. Let them do it. But it showed that they don't give a crap about any of the creators that are on there. I mean, I think this is the mistake that I think a lot of people that look, these platforms, YouTube, and this is why I think YouTube is a little, yes, YouTube will take people off and they'll ban and they'll do all that. But YouTube isn't as ham-fisted as like the other sites, right? Is because they understand that if they don't have creators on their platform doesn't exist. It's a genius monetization plan because the monetization is built into the advertisement, and the advertisement is built in on people that want to make sure their ads get seen. They pay Google the money. Google gives us a cut as creators of it. And that's a genius way to do things because, one, we get paid without having you guys just watching our videos, and we get paid for that. And Google really doesn't have to do anything aside from allow us to work. So it's one of the more genius modern monetization, which is why you see a lot of sites like Facebook eventually end up adopting the same exact thing. One of the most genius advertisement plans that you can think of. But it's heavily dependent on the creator. And they're pulling, what I see is Facebook and Twitter, Google not as much, but Facebook and Twitter is pulling a Blockbuster, getting cocky, where they are so rooted in their social political views, right, that they will do something, or they're not going to be proactive, or they're going to do something to get themselves pushed right out the door. And if that's what they want to do, let them do it. It only seems like it's unrealistic that they can be phased out because you've been around it for so long and that's all that you know. But there was a MySpace once. And for those of you guys that don't understand, MySpace was the social media platform. Again, it's easy to say it now because it's obsolete, but MySpace was the platform. That was it. It was the platform. It was the social media platform. And then it wasn't. So what they're going to have to do is continue to go down this route, fine, run it into the ground. Or they'll have to make an adjustment at some point. But there are a lot of people that are coming up with alternatives, learning from the mistakes of these other companies, like why Parler, for example, didn't have enough tech-savvy people to think, maybe we shouldn't put our website on under Amazon Web Services. Maybe we probably should do. I don't know why nobody thought of that, but that goes to show that they weren't thinking it through. But people learn from their mistakes. So people are starting to get these alternatives are going to start getting created, and it's going to be absolutely nothing that they can do about it aside from maybe take you off the App Store. That's it. That's it. But they can't stop you. They're not going to be able to stop you from using it from your browser, accessing something from your browser if you are on your phone, or accessing it from obviously your PC. So it's only so much that they're going to be able to do. So I say, let them do it. Let them do it. I'm not even tripping like that. It just incentivizes me to continue to create like the stuff that I'm doing on the back end and get that launched. I've had several meetings throughout the week to try to get that process sped up. So in the next couple of months, you're going to see a complete revamp of ericdjuly.com, and then I'm going to be funneling all there. And then it's something that I have to be prepared for. And if you are a creator, you have to be prepared for, because these guys, Trump turned them into crazy people. And these guys are rooted, their board members are rooted in their political views, and they don't know what else to do. So what they try to do is any dissenting voice. And again, this goes to show that you were stupid if you thought that all they were doing was going to come for like conservatives or people that they claim were inciting violence. That was always bogus. I told y'all this was always bogus. And this was the way that I thought that they were going to do it. It was going to be less about kicking people off, and it's more about, okay, if we demonetize him, he doesn't have an incentive to create on our platform. So that, and it's true. I really don't. So at this point, Facebook for me is really just going to be generally used for me to, communicate and then send people to my other work that is monetized. So that's more so what it's going to be utilized for. And I may be upload an occasional video or something that is not going to be monetized, because they didn't take away my posting privileges. They just took away my demonetization, which is, let them run it into the ground. I just find it hilarious that they spent this past half year lecturing everybody about amplifying black voices. I just saw last month these fools talking about what that was, a creator, King Richard, I believe is his name, who's now on Facebook Gaming, and they're talking about all this partner program and how they're going to help people who are black and uplift their voices to try to get them to be full-time creators. And I'm sitting here like, bro, I don't need none of that shit. I don't need that. I just need you to pay what you owe in terms of the ad revenue that I'm bringing in for the partner agreement that we have. I don't need you to give me money. I don't need you to amplify shit. I got all of that. Ready to rock. But it's a controlled voice that they want. So when they talk about black voices, I did a video back in the day about this. When they talk about black voices, when they talk about amplifying black voices, it's an asterisk next to it. Which means, and then you read in the fine print, not black voices that disagree with us. Let them run the program into the ground. We don't need to get the state involved. If anything, this does need to be a point of emphasis. Need to be seeing, and of course these crackhead Republicans aren't even really talking about this, need to be seeing what government contracts does Facebook have, YouTube have, Google has, Twitter has, Amazon have. How about we just get those removed? That way you're not getting taxpayer dollar to be housed on, a cloud service or advertisement or stuff like that. If that plug was removed from them, that'd be a big block of money, and then they'd have to straighten up and fly right. Or if they want to run it into the ground, just don't get in their way. We don't need to nationalize Twitter, which is what some GOPers are suggesting, which again, they're stupid. It's all good though. It's all good. All this says is that you need to be going to my YouTube, going to my other forms of social media, following me, manually coming up to the because you can't depend on the subscriptions or the the following or anything or the notifications. You can't depend on that. So just go out of your way. I upload videos on my YouTube. There's at least 2 of them in addition to the stream that we do every single day. So you're getting at least 3 videos per se every single day. So just come show some love. Come show some love. Watch some if you want to. You can go to ericdjuly.com. If you want to donate, you can. You don't have to. It's not required. But if that's something that you want to do that. But understand, in the next couple of months, I'm phasing a lot of this shit out as far as being so dependent on like third-party platforms for monetization. I want to cut out the middleman, so it gets less of them getting something off the top and more you guys knowing exactly what you're getting and knowing exactly what you're supporting, and that's me. Don't fret. It's all good. I'm fine. It's just we got to come up with more creative ways to try to replace that Facebook revenue that we're going to be that we just lost. We'll figure it out. It ain't no biggie. It ain't no biggie. But there are alternatives that are being created. Embrace those alternatives, and hit them where it hurts. Embrace those alternatives. A lot of alternatives. This whole idea that there aren't alternatives. Like, no. What you're really trying to say is that Facebook and Twitter, they have the largest user base, which is cool, which is true. But there are alternatives to both of those sites. If you absolutely need that kind of fix. Twitter, I really don't think you need that at all because that can be phased completely out. But for sure, with some of these other sites, like the YouTubes, there's alternatives to both of those. YouTube and Facebook. There are alternatives. There absolutely are alternatives. Look into it. Not all of them are good. A lot of them are crap, actually. But there's some decent ones out there. Look into them. Do your research. And, you don't have to utilize those sites. But you'll be able to, as far as my content, you'll be able to get it at ericdjuly.com very soon. But nothing changes. YouTube is still monetized. Then I haven't got a strike or anything ever from YouTube, knock on wood. So all is good. We ain't even tripping. But I do thank everybody for the support because I did get a lot of people like, oh, that's a decent part of his money. And it is a decent revenue stream. It's one revenue stream, but it ain't like that. It ain't like it's go kill me. I'll be fine. But I do thank you guys for the wearing, and I do thank you guys for the support. But Facebook has demonetized myself, Tim Pool, among others, and they just getting started. You know what direction they're going in. But don't get in their way. Let them run it into the ground.